Hey, we're back again, another week. And just in case you don't know me, my name is Nakia, and I basically sold $1.4 million in product, selling on Amazon, running the whole store, doing the whole yards after I lost my job. And now I'm dedicated to helping other people get to where they want to be, especially if they want to start their stores, Etsy, Shopify, you name it, and build this thing organically. That's what I'm dedicated to. And of course, if you are looking to start your store or grow, definitely head in the description and click on Catch Gold Like a Leprechaun for 100 gold for the webinar. That's what it's called. And basically I go through everything from basically how to find your own target market to all the way from content planning. So we're going from all the way A to Z here in this free webinar. So definitely join it. I'm looking forward to connecting, and I'm gonna get right into it. So the common question I always get is, Nakia, how do I attract my ideal customer? Like, how do I get them to me? Like, how do I just get them to come to me? Like, come to my account, come to my store, whatever that may be for you, especially if you're a product-based business, doing it organically. So we're gonna get this out the way. I'm gonna tell you what it's not. It is not age, it's not just age, it's not just someone's appearance, it's not just where someone lives, it's not just how someone picks their nose. I'm kidding. But it's not any of those things. It's basically not surface level stuff. Because let's be real, if it was just about age, it was just about appearance, how tall the person is, how long they are, how long their arm is, okay, basically every single product store owner would be millionaires, right? Right? People will be attracting people that were from age 25 to 40, right? And all those people will be coming to you. But I'm here to break it to you. As human beings, we are not just stats. We don't think like that. So like, I don't go to a company and I look at their content and I'm like, but wait, do I fit the criteria if I'm like 25 years old? Okay, so I guess I'm gonna buy from there because I'm 25 and I'm tall and I'm gonna just buy from there. And so imagine this, if you put that 25 to 40 without really knowing who your target audience is, right? And you're just like 25 to 40, you're basically excluding women who may be 42 years old who want to buy from you, but you basically excluded that whole market, right? To come to your store. I put this thought in your head that attracting your ideal customer is about attracting them in different angles. Because, I say this because as human beings, we are emotional human beings. We relate to people who like what we like, right? That's how it works. We relate to people who have the same interests, who talk about what we like to talk about. We don't relate to people based on age. Maybe you'll have some preferences there, but people don't relate based on age. We relate based on how you make me feel. It's about how close are you to my interests? Are you keeping me entertained? That's usually how we work. If it entertains me, I'll watch you. If it interests me, I'll watch you. I'll stay. Maybe I'll stay a bit. That's how it works. The first step in attracting your customer, and this is gonna be very shocking because most people don't, is you have to know who they are. So I remember I had a customer, I remember I had a client. I don't really know who my target audience is. Like, should I just keep on posting and hope that they come? And I was like, no, please don't do that. Because you know what happens is that when you are not clear with your content, guess what's gonna happen? You don't sell. If your content's not clear, your messaging's not clear, who you're attracting is not clear, guess what? You won't sell, because that means you're not resonating with the right customer. So imagine on this channel, I said that I was gonna teach you about ideal audiences, but instead you came on and I started talking about pizza. You'd be like, dude, this is not for me, because I was coming to learn about how to attract customers to my store. Here's the thing, in order for you to attract the customer, you have to know who they are, right? You have to think about it, and that's something I'm going to talk about later in the video, but you have to know who you are, so that way when you're creating your content, you're creating your marketing, you can basically position it in a way that will attract them, in a way that will make them want to stay and hang with you. You know what I mean, on social media, right? Like, you can't really nail your messaging if you don't know who you're attracting. You can't nail your messaging if you're like la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di and you don't know who you're marketing. Like, you have to know who you're targeting so you can start like gearing that messaging towards that person. And I'm gonna be real, I know some of this stuff is so woo-woo, right? But I'm gonna put it out there because I know that we've gone through years of people just telling you, create a profile, like create a customer profile, right? But I remember hearing that too, and I never understood why you had to do it. Like, people always be like, oh, just create the profile, have it there, and guess what? It would end up getting dusty somewhere, and I never would find that profile again. So here's the difference with me, right? I'm basically going to tell you like why you need a customer profile and what type of impact it can create and why you should create it. I'm tired of people just saying, create a profile, customer profile. Then you don't know what, like how you should use it, right? So you create this profile and you're making this profile, but you're like, hey, but how do I use it? Right? So here is where you would start, because I believe this is one of the first steps. And I know we talk about that customer profile, but you start with asking yourself, what do you stand for? Based on the product you're selling, based on your own beliefs, what do you stand for? And don't be shy about it. And I don't want to get stuck in your mind where you're like, okay, but say if they don't like that, what I stand for, or say if they don't resonate, that means they're not your ideal client, right? The right person will resonate. The right customer will resonate with what you talk about, right? They'll flock to you. And obviously it's related to the product, but they will flock to you. That's the idea. And don't get stuck where this is the only one way. Like, if you decide on what you stand for and that's it. No, if you see that people are then commenting about other things, or you're testing out new ideas of things you could talk about, you can always change it. You always tweak. It's all tweaking. Like, when it comes to these things, it's all tweaking. Nothing is set in stone. Until you figure it out, then you just zero in. Now, what do they stand for? What's their deal breakers? And we have to keep this in mind. Not because you're selling a product, you can't get personal. Like, you can still talk about personal topics that gets them going, that gets them interested, right? The likes and dislikes could be a personal thing, or it could be more surface level, but it needs to relate. It needs to relate to what you're selling. It needs to always tie back to what you're selling. But there could be times where you're just connecting, and that's okay too. My biggest advice I'm gonna give you right now is that you need to speak to them like they are human, right? You need to speak to them like they are like your friend. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna buy from you. They're not buying because of the product. They're buying from you. They like you. So here it goes. There's gonna be a full-on demonstration. So here we go. We're gonna show an example as if I were to do it. If I were to build this profile. Okay, so let's say let's say if this was a sustainable clothing product business, right? Because that's usually, people always get tripped up when it comes to a product. People get tripped up about like how to do it, like how to relate to people. Because no matter what, there's always gonna be some interest, there's always gonna be some likes and dislikes, pain points, whatever it may be. But let's get right into it. So let's say this is a sustainable clothing company. And what you would do, it could be green packaging, for example, and fair labor for whatever clothing that they choose to sell. That could be something that they stand for. They're big on the like fair labor, and that's a non-negotiable. The next one would be, what do they stand against? So that could be clothing that's not recyclable, that's not good for the environment, and is basically causing a non-healthy environment. Likes, and remember I said it could be personal too, but it could be that they like vegan food. They enjoy clean eating the greens. Their dislikes could be that they don't support businesses that do testing on animals or harm them in any way. So basically it'd be, in general, the overall industry who is not mindful of what's going on around animals. Who are they? Are they single? Are they a mom? Are they married? Or does it even matter? Is it as long as they fit within that mold that we talked about, the likes and dislikes, what they stand for, what they stand against, right? So once you determine that, the idea is that you would tie it back in to your messaging, you would tie it back in to your content planning, and it'll always tie back to your product. Because, for example, I'm assuming that if you have a sustainable business, that'd be some of the stuff that you'd be standing for, right? Like proper labor, proper packaging, all that good stuff. What do they fear? Is their biggest fear that they're not gonna find green clothing, that they're not gonna be able to find stylish clothing? You determine that, right? You determine that and create the story, and you condition them. And you attract the people who are attracted to your messaging. There you have it. You have an overview of a profile. And of course you could go deeper and deeper. It's a never ending thing. Like, what I notice about customer profiles is that the more you grow, the more you define it more. The more you start implementing, the more you start changing up things and tweaking and making things better and better. It's always, this is something that's ongoing. It doesn't stay the same, because once you, what your customer profile is at $0, I definitely guarantee you that where they are at, for example, $20,000 in sales, it will be completely different. You're always gonna be defining this. And so what I'm gonna do actually is, I'm actually gonna be even building out this profile even more. So I'm gonna do an even more detailed profile. And I'm gonna do a part 2 of this video. So look out for that video next week. And it'll show you like basically how to create content around your customer profile. Because I see too many people, for some reason, they start selling their product and then they forget and they're like, wait, like, how do I create content for this? And then so the only go-to is people just post their products. They just sell their products and that's it. And it's like, no, it's more than just that. Thank you for watching this whole video, especially if you got to this whole video. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. And definitely don't forget to subscribe. And also don't forget about the Hunt for the Gold webinar, so you can kill it in your product business. Everything's in the description, guys. Bye.